Client police, open the door.
Can you tell me what this is about?
I said open the door first.
I'm not opening the door unless you explain why you're here.
We've had reports in this area. You match the description.
What description?
Female, out late. That's
I
enough.
just got home from work. I'm a nurse.
Yeah, that's what they all say.
You're making this difficult. Step.
At exactly 12:47 a.m., a uniformed officer showed up at a nurse's front door in Richmond, Virginia, and within minutes, what started as a routine knock turned into an incident that would later cost him his career. Before we go any further, comment where in the world you are watching from and make sure to subscribe because the next story is one you don't want to miss. Officer Wade Mercer had been with the Richmond Police Department for just over 11 years. At 38, he was known among some of his colleagues for being proactive, but that word didn't always mean what it sounded like. There had been prior complaints, nothing that led to suspension, but enough to put his name on record more than once. Reports of unnecessary force, escalations that didn't need to happen, and a pattern quietly discussed but never formally addressed about how he handled situations involving black residents. Mercer denied any bias whenever it came up. On paper, he was still in good standing. That night, he was alone in his patrol car when he pulled onto a quiet residential street in South Richmond. Most of the houses were dark, no visible activity, no active calls in the immediate area tied to that address. Still, Mercer stepped out of his vehicle and walked straight up to the front door of a small townhouse. Inside that home was Marielle Baptiste, 32 years old, a registered nurse who had just gotten back from a late shift at the hospital. She had been on her feet for most of the night, dealing with back-to-back patients and short staffing. By the time she got home, she wasn't looking for anything except sleep. She had just set her keys down and taken off her shoes when the first knock hit the door. It wasn't light, it wasn't hesitant, it was loud, sharp, repeated. Marielle froze for a second, her eyes shifted toward the door. Nobody was expected, nobody had called ahead. At that hour, any unexpected knock meant something was wrong. The knocking came again, louder this time. She walked slowly toward the door but didn't open it. Instead, she reached for her phone and pulled up the doorbell camera feed. On the screen, she saw a uniformed officer standing inches from her door. Flashlight in one hand, the beam was pointed directly at the camera, washing out part of the image. He knocked again, 3 quick, aggressive hits. "Police, open the door." Marielle didn't move to unlock it. She spoke through the door instead, her voice controlled but cautious. "Can I help you?" There was a short pause, like he wasn't expecting a response without the door opening. "I said open the door," Mercer replied, his tone already impatient. "I need to know what this is about first," she said. Another pause, then a slight shift in his posture. He leaned closer to the door. "We've had a report in this area. I need to speak with you. Open the door." Marielle glanced back at the camera feed. Something didn't sit right. No other patrol cars, no visible activity on the street, no sense of urgency beyond his tone. "What kind of report?" she asked. "That's not something I'm discussing through a door," Mercer said quickly. "Open it." His voice changed now, less formal, more forceful. Marielle stayed where she was. "I'm not opening the door unless I understand what's going on." That was when Mercer took a step back and looked directly into the camera for the first time. His expression tightened. "Ma'am, don't make this more difficult than it needs to be." "I'm not trying to. I just got home. I don't know what this is about." He exhaled sharply, like his patience was already gone. "You live here alone?" he asked. The question landed wrong. Marielle didn't answer it. Instead, she said, "Why are you here?" Mercer ignored that. "I asked you a question." "And I asked you one," she replied, her tone still steady. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Mercer stepped closer again and knocked, harder than before. "Open the door." This time it wasn't a request. Marielle's grip tightened slightly around her phone. She adjusted the camera view again, making sure everything was recording clearly. "I'm speaking to you," Mercer continued. "You're refusing a lawful request right now." "No, I'm asking for information," she said. "You haven't told me why you're here." His jaw shifted. "We got a call about suspicious activity." What kind of activity? You, replied he. That caught her off guard. Me? She said. I just got home from work. Yeah, Mercer said, his tone flat, almost dismissive. Uh-huh. The response wasn't loud, but it was clear enough. Marielle's expression changed slightly. Not fear, more like recognition. She had dealt with difficult people before, patients, families, pressure situations, but this felt different. Outside, Mercer shifted his stance again, glancing briefly up and down the street before turning back to the door. You're going to open this door, he said, slower this time, more controlled. Or I'm going to take that as non-compliance. With what? She asked immediately. With an investigation. You haven't explained anything, she said. I don't have to explain everything to you, he snapped. You match a description, you're in the area, and now you're refusing to cooperate. What description? She asked. Mercer didn't answer that directly. Instead, he said, Step outside so we can clear this up. I'm not stepping outside, not like this. Another silence. Then Mercer moved closer than before, so close the camera picked up the tension in his face. Listen, he said, his voice lower now, edged with irritation. You don't want to go down this road. I'm giving you a chance to make this easy. Marielle didn't respond right away. She looked at the screen, looked at him. Then she said, calm but firm, I'm not opening the door. There was a brief pause, and then Mercer's expression shifted completely. The patience, what little of it was there, was gone. And when he spoke again, his tone made it clear that this was no longer just a conversation. Mercer's expression hardened, and for a moment he just stared straight into the doorbell camera like he had forgotten it was there. Then he knocked again, louder than before, each hit echoing through the house. Open the door, now. Marielle didn't move from where she stood. Her phone was still in her hand, camera feed steady. Her voice stayed controlled. I already told you I'm not opening the door without understanding why you're here. Mercer took a step back, pacing once across the small porch like he was trying to decide his next move. When he came back to the door, his tone had changed again, less controlled, more aggressive. You're making this worse than it needs to be, he said. I'm trying to handle this simple, but you're not cooperating. I am cooperating. You're the one not explaining anything. He let out a sharp breath through his nose. No, you're being difficult, he said, and I've seen this before. There it was again, that assumption in his voice, not based on anything she had done, just something he had already decided. Marielle caught it. What does that mean? She asked. It means, Mercer said, stepping closer, people act like this when they've got something to hide. I just got home from work, she said again, slower this time. I haven't done anything. Mercer tilted his head slightly, studying the camera like he was trying to read through it. Yeah, that's what you keep saying. The way he said you carried weight. Not neutral, not professional. Marielle's grip tightened around her phone. You're not listening, she said. I'm listening just fine, Mercer shot back. I just don't believe everything I hear. Silence hung for a second. Then he raised his voice. Step outside. Now. No. The answer came immediately. Mercer's jaw tightened. You don't get to tell me no. I do when I'm inside my own home, Marielle replied. That hit something. He stepped forward again, closer than before, his face now filling more of the camera frame. You people always think the rules don't apply when it's convenient, he said under his breath. Marielle didn't speak right away, but her expression changed. That was the first time he stopped trying to hide it. What did you just say? She asked, her voice still calm but sharper now. Mercer didn't repeat it. Instead, he knocked again, hard enough that the door shook slightly. I said, open the door. No. Another pause, this time longer. Mercer stepped back again, running a hand across his jaw like he was trying to hold on to what little patience he had left. Then he looked off to the side, scanning the street again. Still quiet, still no one else around. When he turned back, his tone dropped lower. "You're really going to do this right now?" he said. "I'm asking you to explain why you're here. I already told you suspicious activity. That's not specific. What exactly was reported?" Mercer hesitated for half a second. Then he said, "Someone matching your description was seen moving around this area." Marielle frowned. "My description?" "Yeah." "What description?" she asked again. Mercer's response came quick this time, but it wasn't detailed. "Female, late night, walking around." "That's it?" she said. "That's your description?" "That's enough," he replied. "For what? For standing at my own front door?" He didn't answer that. Instead, he took another step forward and pointed toward the door. "You're going to step outside so I can verify who you are." "I've already told you who I am." "I don't take verbal confirmations, I verify." Marielle shook her head slightly. "You can verify without me opening the door." "No, I can't," he snapped. "Not the way you're acting." There it was again, the shift. Every response from her somehow becoming justification for him. "I'm not acting any type of way," she said. "I'm asking questions. And I'm giving you instructions. There's a difference." Another knock, this one even harder. "Open the door." Marielle didn't respond immediately. Instead, she adjusted the camera angle slightly again, making sure his face, his posture, everything was clearly visible. Mercer noticed. His eyes flicked directly at the camera lens. "What are you doing?" he asked. "I'm making sure this is recorded," she replied. That changed something. Not completely, but enough. He straightened slightly, his tone shifting for a brief moment, like he was trying to pull himself back under control. "You think recording is going to change how this goes?" he asked. "I think it already has," she replied. Another silence, this one heavier. Mercer looked at the camera again, then back at the door. Then his expression hardened all over again. "You're obstructing right now, you understand that?" "No, I'm not." "Yes, you are." "How?" she asked. "By refusing to comply with a lawful order. You haven't given me a lawful reason." That was it. Whatever line he had been holding on to snapped. He stepped right up to the door again, his voice no longer controlled. "Listen carefully," he said. "I don't need to stand out here arguing with you all night. If you don't open this door right now, I will escalate this situation." Marielle's heart rate picked up, but her voice didn't show it. "Escalate how?" Mercer didn't answer immediately. Instead, he leaned closer, his voice dropping again, quieter but more threatening. "You don't want me to have to come in there." The words hung in the air. Marielle's eyes flicked to the camera screen, then back to the door. "You don't have a warrant," she said. "I don't need one if I have probable cause," he replied quickly. "What probable cause?" she asked. Mercer didn't respond, not directly. Instead, he took a step back, placing one hand on his radio. And that was when Marielle realized this wasn't slowing down, it was about to get worse. And whatever he was about to do next, he was done asking. Mercer's hand stayed on his radio, but he didn't press it right away. For a second, he just stood there, staring at the door like he was weighing how far he could push this. Marielle didn't wait to find out. Still holding her phone, she backed up a few steps from the door and quickly dialed. The line connected almost immediately. 911, what's your emergency? There's an officer at my door, Marielle said, keeping her voice steady. He's demanding I open it, but he won't explain why. I'm alone and he's becoming aggressive. Outside, Mercer knocked again, louder, sharper. Who are you calling? He shouted. Marielle didn't answer him. She stayed focused on the call. He's knocking right now. He's saying I match some description, but he won't tell me what it is. His name is Officer Wade Mercer. There was a pause on the line. Ma'am, stay inside your home. Do not open the door. We're going to send another unit to your location. Marielle let out a quiet breath. Thank you. She ended the call and immediately brought the camera feed back up. Mercer had heard enough. His posture had changed completely now, more rigid, more tense. Whatever control he had left was slipping. "You just made this a lot more complicated," he said. "No," Marielle replied through the door. "I made it safer." He shook his head slightly, almost like he couldn't believe what he was hearing. "You think calling dispatch changes anything?" he asked. "I think it documents everything," she said. That hit him. For a split second, he glanced back at the camera again. Then his jaw tightened. "You're still refusing to comply," he said. "That hasn't changed." "I'm following instructions from your own department." Mercer didn't respond to that. Instead, he stepped off the porch, pacing once across the walkway before turning back. His movements were sharper now, less controlled. Then he stopped and looked directly at the camera again. "You people always do this," he muttered, just loud enough to be picked up. Marielle didn't interrupt him this time. She let him talk. "Act like you don't understand what's going on. Make everything difficult. Drag it out." He trailed off, shaking his head. Then, louder, "Step outside. Last chance." "No." Immediate, firm. Mercer's patience broke completely. He stepped forward fast, hitting the door again, hard enough that the sound echoed inside. "I'm not asking you again," he shouted. Marielle flinched slightly at the impact, but she didn't move from where she stood. "I don't have the right to come in, and I'm not opening this door." "You're obstructing an investigation," Mercer snapped. "You haven't told me what the investigation is." Another silence, short, sharp. Then Mercer said something different, something that shifted the entire situation. "We had a report of someone casing homes in this area, late night, walking around, looking into properties." Marielle frowned. "And you think that's me?" He replied, "I think you fit the description." "How?" she asked. "Based on what?" Mercer hesitated, just for a second. Then he said it. "Based on what I see." That wasn't an answer, and both of them knew it. Marielle took a breath. "You see a woman standing in her own house. That's what you see." "I see an officer who won't explain why he's here," he shot back. "I see an officer who won't explain why he's here." Their voices overlapped for a moment, then stopped. Outside, Mercer's radio crackled faintly. A voice came through. "Unit responding, 2 minutes out." Mercer froze, just for a second. Then he turned slightly away from the door, lowering his voice as he responded into the radio. "Copy." When he turned back, his expression had changed again. Not calmer, just different, like he was recalculating. "You didn't need to call anyone," he said. "Yes, I did," Marielle replied. "This could have been handled already. You're dragging this out for no reason." "No," she said. "You did that." Another pause. Then Mercer tried something new. His tone shifted, less shouting, more controlled, but still tight underneath. "Look, all I need is to confirm who you are. That's it. You step outside, show ID, we're done." Marielle didn't respond immediately. "You can confirm that without me stepping outside." "No, I can't," he replied quickly. "That's not true." "It is," he snapped. Another silence. Then Marielle spoke slower this time. "I'm not stepping outside with you acting like this." That landed. Mercer's expression hardened again, whatever restraint he was trying to hold on to slipping even further. "Acting like what?" he asked. "Like you've already decided I've done something wrong." "I go off what I see," he replied. "No," she said. "You go off what you assume." That was it. His jaw clenched, and for a moment it looked like he was about to say something he wouldn't be able to take back. But before he could, in the distance, faint at first, a siren. Mercer heard it. His head turned slightly toward the street, then back to the door. The sound got louder, closer, and for the first time since he arrived, Mercer didn't knock, he didn't speak, he just stood there looking at the camera, knowing someone else was about to see everything. The sound of the siren grew louder until it stopped right outside. Red and blue lights reflected across the door. Officer Luis Navarro stepped into view. "What's going on?" he asked. Mercer didn't hesitate. "Suspicious activity. She's refusing to cooperate." Navarro glanced at the door, then back at him. "She inside her home?" "Yes." Navarro stepped closer to the camera. "Ma'am, this is Officer Navarro. Are you okay?" "Yes, he's been trying to force me to open the door without explaining why he's here." Navarro nodded. "You did the right thing by staying inside. Do you have ID?" "Yes." "Hold it up to the camera." A moment later, Marielle's ID appeared in view. Navarro read it. "Marielle Baptiste. Address matches." He turned back to Mercer. "She's verified." Mercer's jaw tightened. She still refused to comply. Navarro didn't raise his voice. "She's inside her home. She doesn't have to step outside." A pause. "What's the actual description?" Navarro asked. Mercer hesitated. "Female, out late." Navarro looked at him for a second longer than necessary. "That's not probable cause." Silence. Navarro stepped back slightly. "We're done here." Mercer didn't argue this time. Navarro turned toward the door. "Ma'am, you're all set. You did the right thing." "Thank you," she said. The officers walked away. The lights faded. The street went quiet again. But the footage didn't. Days later, the doorbell recording was reviewed internally. It showed everything, how the situation started, how it escalated, and how it should have never happened in the first place. Officer Wade Mercer was placed on administrative leave. That review turned into a formal investigation, and by the end of it, his actions that night, captured clearly on camera, cost him his career. If this story made you think, drop a comment and let me know your thoughts. And don't forget to subscribe to Culture Scope for more real stories like this.